Hello. What I have created today is a simple but collaborative carbon footprint calculator. What this does is it calculates the carbon footprint using simple methods. However, it makes up for this by accounting for everybody who logs on, which is why we have user authentication integrated into this website in order to allow for the entire picture to be seen, which is what is the most important when it comes to dealing with climate change. This application was built using React JavaScript as my front end, Python with Flask as my back end, and MongoDB as my database. This is my first time using Flask, my first time using React, my first time using Mongo, and pretty much my first time using JavaScript. So all in all, and it's also my first web application all in all. So all in all, this is a very, very new experience to me. But now on to the why I created this app. I created this app because I saw other carbon calculators and they could be very precise. They could be but also very complicated. And these complicated carbon calculators were extremely difficult to kind of grasp. You didn't really have that information. Like it was very specific information that no one had access to. And it made up for it by being slightly more accurate. But as I've stated before, climate change is not the cause of small changes or really, really being exact. It's a bunch of things happening together. And that's why it's important to look at it collaboratively. And that's where my application comes in. So first we're going to sign up. So I'm just going to use my name. And now we have signed up. Apologize for that. There we go. I must have mistyped. So here you can see if you can enter the amount of gas in gallons, diesel, and the food. And as you can see, we already start off on a good site, a good start because I believe I selected John, who I have already created. But let's say we want to switch things up. We're going to make it 112. Submit that. 112 gallons. And you can see his score plummets. But because we have a database of other people, the community score does not plummet. And you can enter this again, change it, make it back to a more reasonable number, 32 gallons. And yeah. Now you can do food, and as you can see with food, the most intensive food is easily meat in terms of carbon emissions. So as you can see, 11% all the way down to there. That means not good. Essentially, this is a kind of a recommendation system of how good you're doing in terms of it based on the data. So 33% is considered the baseline, and then you're supposed to go up from there. So let's say we swap out that meat for some vegetables. And as you can see also, it makes it so that you have to have the sum equal to 100 because it's 100%. And as you can see, it actually goes up from before. So eating more fruits and vegetables will be better for carbon emissions. However, as you can see here, the overall purple thing, and this is just from having 7 or 8 users, it still remains relatively hard to change. So what this kind of teaches us is that we need to look at it as a collaborative effort. And not just that, not just carbon emissions, but the environment as a whole, which is really where I'm going to move next into it with this project. First off, I would be implementing a form of recommendation using machine learning to optimize those recommendations based on how the users respond. And over time, I would continue to develop this, make it even more of a social platform potentially, and finally branch out from just being about carbon emissions, but about the environment as a whole, which is actually where the idea of the dietary aspect came from, because the dietary aspect plays a much larger role on the environment as a whole, not as much carbon emissions, though it does play a role there. So that's about it. Bye.